An age-old remedy from the forests of the Adirondacks is being turned into a new healthy brew. Our Jack LaDuke shows us.
When Garrett Kopp of Tupper Lake invites you for a nice cup of chaga tea, you just might find yourself knocking back a frosty can of beer. Kopp is one of the makers of the health-praised chaga tea. He recently convinced the people at Racket River Brewery to include a beer as part of the chaga family, creating a new, possibly healthy brew.
It's a liquid concentrate of the mushroom. So the other thing that's characteristic about a tincture is that it uses more than just water as the extraction method. These are 22% alcohol. So you have to consider that when it comes to mushrooms, there's a variety of compounds in the mushroom that have healing properties that aren't soluble in water. They're not going to dissolve in water, but they will dissolve in alcohol.
The idea to mix chaga tea components, creating a Racket River beer, had been on Garrett's mind for some time, but timing was just not right, he said. Today, chaga beer is a product made and sold by Racket River Brewery of Tupper Lake. Sales of chaga beer have been better than expected, especially during the pandemic, Kopp said. Chaga grows on the outside of a birch tree, forming a mushroom-like bulged growth. It is harvested and cut into chunks and stored.
We don't use his chaga tea, we use the actual chaga, chunks of it, in the brew kettle. So, yeah, he approached us and said he wanted to do this, and we sat down and worked on a plan. And then we talked to our brewers, and they wrote a recipe, and we brewed it here, and the rest is history. It's been really well received with the public.
Drinking chaga tea can reinforce your body's immune system, Kopp said. But the brewery was undecided at first about mixing chaga chunks and beer.
I was a little skeptical, actually, myself, because it's a brown ale. It's a honey brown ale, and traditionally, brown ales aren't that popular anymore. So I was a little hesitant at the beer style. But then once we put it on tap and people started drinking it, it just started to fly out the door. So it's really been great.
We tried to mimic like a sweet like honey flavor with the chaga tea, and so it's got a little bit of an earthy character. But if you like brown ales, you would really like ours.
Co-owner Jesse said that a lot of people don't know what chaga is. He spends a lot of time explaining what it is. The 9-year-old brewery presently turns out 16 different beers, monitored by 3 staff brewers. Brewers say that science plays a big part in turning out a good batch of beer.
Our machines make it more simple, but in general, it's a very scientific process that starts with grain and water and builds up to, adding yeast and creating alcohol. So it's a big process.
The chaga industry here has gone from sip-a chaga tea to now Chagachaga beer made by the Racket River Brewing Company here in Tupper Lake. Market sales have been strong as folks continue to Chagachaga. For Mountain Lake Journal, I'm Jack LaDuke in Tupper Lake. Cheers.
Jack LaDuke's Adirondack Journal on Mountain Lake PBS is brought to you by Northline Utilities.